Okay, welcome everyone to episode 104 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co host, Dr. Games 101.
Hello, people. How's everyone doing today?
And tonight we're going to do what we do every night. We got 9 stories to talk about that happen to have do with the gaming world. But this is probably going to be a short stream because like 3 different stories are about one specific topic. So uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so unless we have a 45-minute discussion about that topic, which we'll get to when we get to it, I wouldn't expect a long stream.
Understood.
Ready to start with the first topic?
Indeed, yeah.
Okay, first one up. PlayStation Plus free games for August 2024. A massive collection of Lego Star Wars fun in August. Your favorite. PlayStation has released this month's batch of free games for PlayStation Plus subscribers. All PlayStation Plus members can claim a ton of freebies. Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, Five Nights at Freddy's, 2, Security Breach, and Enderly. Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga is a massive toy box of content for members of the family, and there's enough level variety here to keep things interesting as you explore the galaxy and unlock dozens of characters to play. If you want to expand on the game, it's worth upgrading to the Deluxe Edition, as that adds a staggering amount of extra content to the base package. Next on the list is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. This is the latest installment in the family friendly series of horror games, putting you in the shoes of a young boy trapped overnight in Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizza Place. The catch here is that Freddy himself will be helping you, although you'll still have to deal with reimagined Five Nights at Freddy's characters and new threats that are out for blood. Lastly, Ender Lilies, Quidditch of the Knights is a dark fantasy 2D RPG with an elegant design. In this haunting tale, you'll unravel the mysteries of a destroyed kingdom, travel across desolate lands, and take on formidable bosses. Defeating these challenging enemies will allow you to recruit them as allies in your quest, and you'll need all the help you can get to overcome the obstacles ahead of you. So, let's look at the comments because there's a bunch.
I see.
Moogie Star goes, "What is this Lego agenda? It needs to stop." Lord to Flee says in response, "I need more Lego games. I've already platinumed every Lego game from the last decade." Moogie Star said in response, "I played about 4, just kind of fed up. Good for others that enjoy them, though." So, do you care about any of these games that are coming out for PlayStation Plus?
I heard of you said the Lego games coming out for August, right? What other games you said too? Again, I'm sorry.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and Lily's Quest Quietus of the Nidus.
Hmm. Well, Lego is interesting to play as always. It's for everyone to play. Friday to Freddy is kind of like the second one I ever gets to play yet, and because I could have got the first 5 Freddy games back when it was on for not for free, but it was on Game Pass for Xbox One back a year or two ago. But that's too late for me right there, right? So sucks to be me. And then there's the Lily's game. Is that like something to do with like platforming by any chance?
No, it's RPG, 2D RPG, side-scrolling RPG.
Is it similar graphics to the Edoid Chronicles, the hundred men, or the
I didn't.
Octopath?
I don't know. It didn't. It. The screenshot I saw was pretty dark, so I think it's like Ori and the Will of the Wisp graphics.
Oh, kind of set it in theme. Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Maybe I could try out that game as well too. If it's on the Xbox or if I have a PS4, PS5, because thanks to a person mailed me a Tomb Raider Shadow Tomb Raider game back a few days ago. So I appreciate that. To make a shout out there, I'll shout out your name sometime later next week. So other than that, yeah, it's pretty cool that These games are out for the PlayStation. I mean, for the PS5,
Yep, for
PS4.
PlayStation Plus. Yep.
Oh yeah, but here's the thing though: if they get like between Xbox and Sony, Microsoft and Sony, they should do something where it's like a certain festival slash competitive event between the two consoles to make sure to compete with each other very well and also help people out by buying certain good games too. And do like some sort of festival slash event where it's like we duke it out for who gets to sell for the cheapest or the most bundles or the most anything, and it lasts for about a week or or even a flash sale.
They would never.
Random.
They would never do that.
Okay.
You know. You really think the CEOs would do that?
And it can be a flash sale like that, like they do with my clothing company I buy from. You know, they do a flash sale. Oh, 50% off, buy now. You know, and it's like you got like 1 hour to to buy this stuff. You know, kind of matters. But you have to actually get an email for it first for it to happen or a text message, something of that sort. You know, that'd be cool right there. People will definitely eat up
No,
the
because
PS.
then they would say only certain people are getting a chance to capitalize on this sale, and it's not fair. It sounds good on theory, but like when you think about how it would be executed.
Right, good point. But then again,
Um,
do it with clothing
although
companies. You know.
although one thing I would like to do see about that competition, put like a PlayStation CEO guy in, put an Xbox CEO guy in like a boxing wing or a wrestling wing, and have them fight to the death. Or something like that. Have these CEOs actually be good for something. Well, and I think that would be entertaining.
And the winner gets 50% off all the customers. That'd be great for a couple weeks, you know.
Or the loser gets 50% off the customers from their own to go to the. You could do something like that.
A death match.
I think it would be hilarious if nothing else. But anyway, back to the subject on hand.
Yes.
Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I do have the base game on Xbox One, the 360 version. I do also have a copy, I think, in the store for PS3 for people who do want to play the base game. Five Nights at Freddy's. I've watched gameplay of it. I've never actually tried it. So I don't know, but it does. But like the whole concept sounds interesting, and we're going to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's more in later on, because there's more news revolving around that franchise. But I've never played it, so I don't. It's interesting. That's what I'm saying, and they're not straying too far from the actual story. Instead of being a security guard that's watching a pizza store after hours, you're a young boy that got locked inside a pizzeria.
Oh wow.
And then the 2D RPG, there wasn't really enough info to sway me one way or the other, to sway my interest.
Usually, most RPG games are not that bad to play. It depends on what era of time we're talking about or what timeline. So if we go back to 1990s, you're playing a big game with that. Big risk type of games. So choosing to what RPGs.
Chrono Trigger came out in the 90s. Chrono Cross came out in the 90s.
What about Sailor Moon? The Sailor Moon RPG. Now that yeah, not expecting that to be that horrible. Like, it's that horrible, that RPG game. So
what about Quest 64?
Quest 64.
That was awful.
Well, it sounds interesting at first because of the title of the game and all, but like you said, it's all about taking that risk. I think what time
if you think about role playing games, they weren't like over 250 games on N64. There weren't that many role playing games. Not like Nintendo had Final Fantasy. Not like Super Nintendo had more Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger and stuff like that. The N64 had nothing of that. What'd they have? Paper Mario, maybe? And they had one. The sequel, The Thousand Year Door, didn't come out till the GameCube years. So,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're just trying to say the 1990s was something of it's like you take a risk. Of course, we had Legend of Zelda, stuff like that. Those started to rise up in popularity. But until the 2000s, that's when everything started to become very visually entertaining to see the RPG games from Final Fantasy X to Final Fantasy 13 and all in the 2010s and all, and also Dragon Quest. was the remaster edition that came out last year or two on the Xbox One. I don't know which Dragon Quest it was, but something of that sort. So
Well, if you're talking, if you want to go back to the '80s, like which were more like cave explorers than they were RPGs. I mean, you could talk about Dragon Warrior,
okay, nice.
but I wouldn't really consider that an RPG. It was more like trying first person view games when they just hadn't gotten them down yet.
Right, good point.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
Yeah, we can move on from there on out.
Okay, so next, Mario and Sonic are dead. The Olympic Games series, we mean. We are never going to see Mario's attempt at breakdancing. According to a developer who worked on every game in the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games franchise, the reason there's no appearance for the joint Nintendo and Sega venture during the 2024 Paris Olympics is because, well, the whole series is dead and gone. A rumor backed up by Eurogamer reporting that the International Olympic Committee could have ended its partnership with the publishers. Lee Cocker, who worked on usual elements and gameplay on multiple Mario and Sonic titles, first broke the eerie silence following the two characters no-show at this year's games. He said on X, quote, "For the people that are asking, there will be no Mario and Sonic for Paris 2024," adding that the franchise apparently finished with 2020's Tokyo edition. I know, Cocker adds, because I worked on all the games in the franchise.
Hmm, nice.
Uh, Then, more recently, Eurogamer is reporting that the IOC walked away from its partnership with Nintendo and Sega in order to, the site claims, explore deals with new partners, NFTs, and esports. Yeah, I'm sure NFTs are going to be a real game changer.
Is that
Just
fucking
ex
blue?
GameStop.
Is that fucking blue?
And they aren't kidding about the NFTs. A partnership with Enway offers a desperately embarrassing attempt to cash in on 2021's favorite grift, which suggests Mario and Sonic are likely pleased to be keeping their hands clean. There has been a sports meet party game, Mario and Sonic, every 4-ish years since confusingly 2007, along with 2009 and 2013's Winter Olympic Games equivalents. The series often nonsensically released the year before the games took place, sometimes 8 months before the game started, which always seemed like the weirdest marketing decision imaginable. A total of 6 games came out over the last 17 years, but it seems that there shall be no more. Perhaps the most obvious reason why was that absolutely no one noticed when one didn't come out last year, with even Kotaku only realizing how odd it was that a 2024 edition had been released from the start of the French games. None of the games in the series ever blew people away, with even the Wii-based Beijing original only garnering a Metascore of 67. By all reports, they sold well, but it was always something of an anticlimax that the first time we saw this ultimate gaming crossover between two of the biggest characters in the industry, it was for a bunch of sporting minigames. However, as Cooker says, it remains a shame to see a long-running franchise come to an end, especially given breakdancing as a playable event. How cool would that be? It sure would have been quite the thing. We reached out to Sega to see if we can get confirmation that the franchise is over. And Kotaku doesn't have comments. So, did you ever play any of the Mario and Sonic games? The Olympic games?
I seen different as a series itself of games, series similar to Mario Sonic Olympic games, obviously for years. As only as like 2012, 2010, give or take. But definitely by 2016, 2014, I forgot which one it was, the Limited Olympics or the regular Olympics. They had a promotion of Mario Sonic at the Olympics and all. I was like, well, that looks pretty cool to bring those characters and stories together in such into Olympic form. So yeah, it's but now, like you said, to recent time though, is that the case really though, right? They don't do that stuff anymore, or they do
Yeah,
very little of
no,
it.
yeah, they're not doing it anymore at all.
Yeah, because it's not that popular among most the younger audiences of the Olympic viewers. Meaning that whoever last 10 years now has seen a decline of the Olympic Games, well, winter and summer, are declining steadily over the last 10 years now, and because of the fact that social media stays taking over the matter, see clips of it, not the live coverage between like 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. whatever whatever the time was back a few days ago. Even I don't watch the Olympics anymore in actual all day since, because we do have our own projects going on with our games and such like that, and also social media too. So that's a big help in the matter for the reducing the viewership of the TV version of the Olympic Games. So they have to find some ways to make it live stream for free. It's some people out there like myself and you, even the younger audiences too. You want to catch their eye, put it on Snapchat homepage or some stuff like that. However the Snapchat format is, I don't know, but I don't use Snapchat. But maybe to those kids, like, oh, it's Olympics. Oh, this is what the Olympics look like, and then watch a Snapchat recording themselves live with the Olympics and all. Keep their interest going. Make it relevant to them.
Well, I mean, with what the Olympics has been doing,
Oh yeah, with the opening, yeah.
and having a male fight a female in boxing,
That too.
but and I'm going to get to the question in the chat room after we finish discussing this topic. But yeah, I played Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, the first one, because my younger brother had it for the Wii, and he really liked it. We both really liked it. I forget. I think I played Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games, which was fine at first. Like half the game was normal Olympic Games, like soccer and stuff. But then they had Dream Fencing, which was a 4-way sword fight. And that's not fencing. They had the Dream. They had normal events and they had dream events, and the dream events looked like they would have fit in a Mario Party game better than a Mario and Sonic Olympic game.
Right.
Yeah. So I played that one. I don't think I played any of the others. And it's just like it was. I think Mario and Sonic at the Olympics were more of a novelty than anything else. Yeah, you hit gold with the first one, and like I said, Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. It was funny when you scored a goal in soccer and you saw your whole team running across the field, like, "Yay, we scored!" But that after you see that 3 or 4 times, it's lost its humor.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of the events, dream jumping, where you're actually jumping like you're on a trampoline through the whole course. That's supposed to be like, I think, I forget what that was. Dream jumping, I think. And dream sprint was like when you're in these gigantic balls and you're trying to maneuver them down the course. It's like, again, these games sound like they belong in Mario Party, not the Olympic Games. So yeah, I think that was the end of it. I don't remember after 2012. I don't remember trying out another Mario Sonic Olympic Games, and you don't want to go towards the regular Olympic Games. Those are worse, unless you love button mashing. And even then, you don't want to go near those. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Ryan Smith has issued a question in the chat room. Have you tried out Total Extreme Wrestling 9 yet? I'm not surprised I got asked this. But no, I have not tried Total Extreme Wrestling 9. I know there's a demo that I can do if I don't want to pay $35 for it. But the thing is, as much as I love Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, and I still play it to this day, I'm not the type of guy that's going to buy another variation of Total Extreme Wrestling unless there's something that unless there is something that makes me say that's worth another $35. Let me explain. I played Extreme Warfare Revenge because it was free. I played Total Extreme Wrestling 2005 because it was free. I played Total Extreme Wrestling 2005 until 2020. And then I got sick of it. The mods stopped updating after you got to 2014. But it was so like when in 2020 I was like, do I buy 2016 for the cheaper price or do I buy 2020 because it's coming out? And when I heard Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 for the first time ever was going to let you control developmental companies like NXT or Ohio Valley Wrestling or Florida Championship Wrestling without having to control the main company, I thought that's awesome. That's never been done before. So I'll get 2020. I'm kind of looking for something with Total Extreme Wrestling 9 before I pay money for it. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I still play 2020 to this day. Um, I'd still be doing the invasion storyline. That's not going anywhere. Um,
Okay.
and I'm still doing the other storylines that I do, the other series. I might even start a third one. Um, but as far as Total Extreme Wrestling 9, I, the one thing I know is like you can break that is not in other games. You can break it into different parts. Like you can take a promo and break it into parts. So like when you have a wrestler come out and talk for 5 minutes, then he gets interrupted by someone else. You could make that interruption be its own part, but of the same promo. You couldn't do that in previous Total Extreme Wrestling games. So that is something new. You also have to have enough creative points to run a show if it's an A show or a pay-per-view. You get creative points by having booking meetings, and you can decide like who's on your booking committee. Um, so I've seen a couple of things that are not in Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, but especially with things going on, especially it's just with me still enjoying 2020 so far. I just don't see myself jumping to Total Extreme Wrestling 9 yet, and if I don't, it's just it's not something it's not something I jumped on every variation that came out every 3 or 4 years. Dr. Games 101. I know
Yes.
your history with Total Extreme Wrestling is a lot more sparse than mine. But what do you have anything to say about Total Extreme Wrestling 9 coming out just this past like a week and a half ago?
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I just used just now about the matter. It's I know that it's coming out this year. Like wow, it's high flies. You just played 2020 like how many years for how many months easily, and it's
Yep.
man, it's like goddamn already. But yeah, it's I hope Total Extreme Wrestling 9 will have better roster systems. Like it's a change, but like more it's like to like add on older wrestlers from WWE, ECW, WCW.
Well, you can do that with the mod. That's not Total Extreme Wrestling. You are kind of thinking of this like a WWE game. Uh, you can do wrestling from 90s or the 2000s or even the 80s if you want. You just got to download the right mod pack.
Oh yeah, the mod pack you showed me many
Or
years
you got to
ago.
download a mod pack that has everyone, because there are certain mod packs that have like wrestlers from the 80s and wrestlers from 2010 in the same world, but they're all active at the same time.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
You so
Excuse
you
me.
can do that, but that's not Total Extreme Wrestling. That's up to the modders, and I do know the modders are going to be, if they're not already, hard at work creating different mods and times in history that you can play, that you can simulate in Total Extreme Wrestling 9. So I haven't picked it up yet. I don't have any plans to pick it up immediately. Um, but then again, I didn't pick up 2020 till 2021. So I'm not a guy that gets it day one. I'm but I'm keeping an eye out to see what is new in this version that is not in 2020.
Okay. Let's help the
That's the only.
modders. I think I say this though. Let's help the modders make it a little easier for um, novice players like myself to add into the rosters of from wrestling from the past of different organizations, WE, WCW, you name it, and then just put that into into format. That'd be great. I'll definitely play
Well,
that game.
that's a
Definitely.
again, that's not even the modder's problem. You just gotta know how to do it.
Okay.
I don't know if that video's still up on BitChute or not, but I did do a video on how to add a new mod to Total Extreme Wrestling 2020.
Okay.
Um, I think you've even seen it.
Yeah, at least once.
Yeah. So, and like I said in the video, if you don't know what the hell you're doing, follow me along step by step, because I'm going to try to break each step down to as uh, as I'm going to break each step down as much as I can, you know,
Yeah.
to and I even added a new mod while explaining every little thing I was doing, so you could see that that's how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's how I feel about Total Extreme Wrestling 9. Again, I love it. I love 20, but I love 2020. I love the series, is what I meant to say. I was there since the first game, Extreme Warfare Revenge. Um, 2020, I love it. 9 definitely is looks interesting, but um, I got to see more before I commit.
Oh yeah, definitely. You gotta like test the waters before you go into the
Well,
whole thing.
there's a demo, but even that, it's like there's got to be something that's going to make me put down my money and say, okay, I'm getting this game, but I'm still going to have 2020. I'm not getting rid of 2020 one way at all. So it's like, there's got to be something here that's making me try out this one. Uh, Last time it was the last game I had was 2005, which was the last free one.
Uh-huh.
Um, that's what made me get 2021 because I wanted to play AEW series, which actually went pretty well for like the first year in the game. Um, but like I said, there's got to be something that makes me try out the new one.
Okay.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
We can move on.
Okay. Game Informer to shut down after 33 years. GameStop reportedly told them in a meeting on Friday it was closing immediately and they were all laid off. GameStop has announced it is shutting down after 33 years after GameStop reportedly told the publication it was closing immediately. They were all laid off and they would begin receiving severance terms. Game Informer's parent company, GameStop, not Game Informer staff, took to Twitter to share the news, saying, after 33 thrilling years of bringing
This
you
is
the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-revolving world of gaming, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. From the early days of pixelated adventures to today's immersive virtual realms, we've been honored to share this incredible journey with you, our loyal readers, the post continues. While our presses may stop, the passion we have for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on. Thank you for being part of our epic quest, and may your own gaming adventures never end. Kotaku has reported that Game Informer staff was brought into a meeting on Friday, August 2nd, with GameStop's VP of HR. In the meeting, they were told the publication was closing immediately. They were all laid off, and they would begin receiving severance terms. Game Informer magazine content director Kyle Hillard took to Twitter to share more about the shocking news, revealing the team was about 70% done with the next issue and was going to have a great cover. Game Informer video head Alex Van Aken confirmed on Twitter that there are many members of staff who didn't even know what was happening. Game Informer was founded in August 1991 when FuncoLand began publishing an in-house newsletter. GameStop took over Game Informer when it purchased FuncoLand in 2000 and had become the strongest-running video game magazines in the world. In 2011, Game Informer was actually the third largest magazine in the U.S. with over 8 million copies in the wild. Game Informer's website has been around since 1996. Game Informer's last issue, 367, featured Dragon Age, the Real Guard, as its cover story, and had yet to reveal what 368 would have been. So, let me see, and let me get comments. Lord Cree goes, sad to see this, but the writing was on the wall, especially after seeing them consistently asking for people to sign up for their printed copies every time I went onto their page. I was always looking forward to my monthly Game Informer, Game Pro, or EGM magazines to come to my mail. Thanks for the memories. And Tag Ibby4 goes, that's weird. I thought they always wrote on paper. And Ilum Naughty goes, 100% that I miss my gaming mags. So we both were subscribed to Game Informer for years.
Oh yeah.
I think you were still subscribed to the till the very end. Were you not?
Pretty much up from like as early as 2018, 2019, give or take. I was subscribed to Game Informer for the second time in about almost 10 years. Almost, it's like maybe at least 7, 8 years because I subscribed thanks to my mom. She helped me get subscribed through Game Informer back in 2009, 2008 to like 2013, 2011. something like that. So basically, I had a good run of seeing different eras of Game Informer's magazine coverage. Because at one point, Game Informer's magazine was like that of you see those regular magazines like the MTV and what's it called, People's Magazine, like that kind of format. And then Game Informer, as well as like 2012, they started doing with GTA 5, where it shows just the one game of GTA 5 cover. That's about it, and that's what they do that for every game for us instead. So I've seen the transformation of the Game Informer going on over time, and it's been a blessing too. So yeah, so
Just want to show something on camera, but it's probably not going to care for people who are listening to the replay. But yeah, this is Game Informer from like 2007,
oh
the
wow,
Ghostbusters one.
okay.
Also for sale on my store, by the way.
I think I have a Ghostbusters edition as well too. I had to look back. I must have thrown a
But
lot of magazines out back then, though, back in like the 2011, 2010 era.
yeah, but back to the um, subject. I was subscribed from 2007. I'm not sure which month because I did sell a lot of my Game Informers, and I do have the rest for sale. But I was subscribed from 2007 to May of 2016.
Okay.
I never broke subscription. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I would get the Edge card or the Power Up reward card was I felt the Game Informer subscription that came with it alone was enough value to get that card. So it's just a shame, and I just think it's with GameStop also hemorrhaging money and probably going to become an online reseller just from its warehouse pretty soon. I can't believe they shut down Game Informer.
Yeah. At least
And the
the
thing is,
email format.
and yeah, and the thing is, they even were going digital, but not all digital. They were saying, that they're for people who wanted to read Game Informers on the internet, they could subscribe and get a PDF issue every month if they wanted. They were leaving the choice up. That would have done nothing for me because I only read Game Informers when I was out and about anyway. So I didn't want to have a good internet connection to read a gaming magazine. Yeah, but like I subscribed from Game Inform, like I said, from sometime in 2007. My last issue I got delivered to my mailbox was May 2016.
Okay.
And when you look through those gaming art magazines, you find a lot of games. The best part was finding games you never knew about, but that were still reviewed by Game Informer. Because I mean, gaming magazines were how we heard about games for
Oh,
the
definitely.
most part, at least
Definitely.
in the 90s.
Especially 90s.
Um, but like I remember Mario Kart Wii, for the example, was featured in a Game Informer, I think as a preview, and it said Mario Kart Wii, and then it said in parentheses working title. The Mario Kart Wii game was originally not going to be called Mario Kart Wii. That was just a placeholder title until they could think of something better, and then Nintendo couldn't think of anything better, so they made that the official title.
Okay.
You wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that though unless you saw the preview of Mario Kart Wii in Game Informer.
Definitely.
Uh, so there's that. So yeah. So I mean, there were lots of things. There was lots of games that I never would have tried had I not been subscribed to Game Informer. When I joined GameFly, it was hard to come up like 3 games that I wanted them to keep an eye out on. And GameFly, at least when I was subscribed to them, you could have a list of up to 50 games in queue. Because if you didn't, if they didn't have your number 1 choice, they would try to send you your number 2 choice. They didn't have that, they tried to send you your number 3 choice, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I just went through this when I signed up to GameFly in 2011. I went through every single Game Informer magazine. What game have I not played yet that looks interesting? And unfortunately, this like Blockbuster, it's another thing from my childhood that's gone, but it's not really for my childhood. It's for my past. Because I never really read Game Informer when I was a child. But it's something from my past that's no longer around,
Oh yeah.
and it's just ridiculous that the company that killed it is hemorrhaging money themselves. Um, so and then just to drop it on the drop, just to drop it by the drop of a hat. Oh, by the way, you're all fired.
Yeah.
That is that is shitty. I know because I was laid off that way before. Um, at the beginning of the year, me and all my colleagues were fired for something that we hadn't done. It was the parent company choice, um, but there was nothing that my managers could do. And I'm still and I haven't talked to my manager since April when she said that they had work again. And I said, listen, I just started a new job, so I can't. So I'll come over if this new job doesn't work out, which is my current job now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I said, if I ever get let go for whatever reason, that my former manager is going to be my first call. But so I mean, but like I said, but I was released like that, so I know what that's like. I know what it's like to, and that's not the only time I've been released like that, unfortunately. Um, there was so, but it's just really shitty that Game Informer couldn't give these people more time. I mean, they went in Thursday thinking they had a job. They went in Friday thinking they had a job, and they left Friday not even finding out that they no longer had a job.
Yeah, that's very. It's not as unprofessional. It's also unethical. But at the end of the day, it's the employment at will. That's the law of the land here in the United States. Labor Department of Labor's law. So it sucks for mainly the employees, but not for the employers though. It's lopsided, but it is what it is so far.
Yeah, so I mean, it is again. That's the risk you take when you work a job. But I just think it's a big slap in the face, not only to Game Informer staff, but Game Informer's readers as well.
Indeed. Because we were buying them at one point. At
Yeah,
least give us notice. But here's the screwed up part. I was buying rented, you want to call it rent, subscribing to the Game Informer, let's say as early as 2017, first time years. And then by 2020, 2021, 2020, give or take around the pandemic, they slowed down the production of their Game Informer magazine every 2 months, every 3 months. Then all of a sudden by 2023, I always wanted to watch my issues of magazines. So I called the company or emailed the company. They told me, oh, we cut back on the digital, the print format, and then stick with digital. So that sucked even more. Like it's now they completely closed down the Game Informer. It was like, what the hell? You were doing something for us older gamers. We paid for the service and continue to pay every 2 years, whatever the price was. You know?
yeah. I actually tried to get a job with Game Informer back in 2008, 2009. I wanted to be Game Informer reviewer.
Oh,
I actually sent them my written review of WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2009, and I think Legends of WrestleMania
all
on
right.
360. That my boss at the time was like, he's like, they got the contact info, the editors and stuff. Those people, reach out to them, show them a review. My boss was like, don't tell them that's your best, just in case they hate it. But definitely send out that review and see, and unfortunately they never got back to me. Um, I
Understood.
figured they, I figured it would have at least opened lines of communication. Because this is, like I said, this was back in 08, 09 when Game Informer was still going strong and still going strong for at least another decade.
Easily,
Um,
if they put their
yeah,
minds to it.
yeah. So, but yeah, unfortunately, those people, and the thing is, like everything that was completed is scrapped. So we'll never know what Cover 368 was. We'll never know what the cover story was going to be. We'll never know what was going to be said in that magazine about anything.
Yeah, and at the time too, here's the screwed up part. That if we call it screwed up part, that depends on who you listen to as a reader or a viewer of the magazines. The last 3 or 4 years of the magazine subscription services was had a new director or a new editor in chief for the Game Informer magazine. So that was a sign right there that they were trying to cut costs too, if ever. In my opinion, that is. It's based on my analysis of the matter. Because when I picked up the issue, I forgot which issue it was. Was it like it got between like the year 2020 and 2022. later early 2023, give or take that. The new editor said, "Oh, welcome, I'm the new editor, and here's we're gonna change some things around, but not too much. You know, such and such. Welcome again. Thank you for allowing me to be part of the community, etc., etc." And then okay, no problem. Maybe try to get fresh new ideas, fresh new perspective on things. And it's been how many years these guys been in business, so it's that'd be a good idea too to have some new people in there too, like you and I, if ever, or like James and
Yeah.
me, or even Angry Joe's show, or Matt Pat even. Like these guys could be a great contributor to Game Informer, and it will help sell more copies if ever too if they were editors or some form of contributors to the magazine, or to at least
Right.
the website of Game Informer. That would be great right there. Get YouTube gamers. Of course, you can't control every single YouTube gamer, that's for certain, but at the same time, you got to get people going because Angry Joe, Matt Pat, they get millions of views every month from each of their videos, if not their sales and products they sell over the last how many years they've been on YouTube, and also altogether in there as a business people. So they get great contributors. They could be great contributors at this one of those examples alone. It's you gotta keep they
But
gotta keep with the times. They have to.
but
They had to.
the only problem with that is G4 tried that. They had the completionist on their team. They had other YouTubers that they were paying a lot of money to, tens of thousands of dollars. Some guests were getting $30,000 a show, the top ones anyway.
Right.
And look, it became a big expense to G4. So I don't know if so I don't, and the thing is, I don't know if you had someone like Angry Joe or Mr. Matty Plays or any popular gamer YouTuber, Dashy, you could throw in there. I don't know if any of them would see an upside for them to be, say, hired by the new Game Informer, let's say,
Really.
for example. Me and you, sure. Why not? We can, I can write articles on my day off, or my days off. Have a little side gig. Doctor Games 101. He would have a lot more time to write than I would,
In
and
many
we
cases,
both.
definitely.
And I do want to bring up another one. I forget what issue it was, but there was a story where one guy at Game Informer, he wanted to try getting the Guinness Book of World Records by playing video game for 30 hours straight. I don't know if do you remember the story from Game Informer?
Wow, 30 hours straight. That seems kind of small right now at first because there's people in like United Kingdom playing 72 hours straight and they get deep vein thrombosis from it, and that was from 15-year-olds back in like 10 years ago, something of that sort. I forgot.
Well, no one. Well, this also they had to prove it. So I mean,
Right.
you and me could say, "Hey, we played Total Extreme Wrestling for 10 days straight." If there's no proof of that, they're not going to take us seriously.
And the news reported it too back in the United Kingdom, like the Newsday here in New York City, they reported that deep vein thrombosis kid that did for 72 hours straight of Call of Duty, something of that sort. So
But anyway,
yeah,
the reason I just want to bring it up because it's a story that I read in Game Informer. It's about the Game Informer staff, so I kind of want to bring light to it since at least I remember it. So a guy went to the Game Informer office. He was a worker at Game Informer, and he basically threw it out to the office. Said, "Hey, listen, I'm going for a gaming marathon, 30 hours straight to get into Guinness Book of World Records. Does anyone want to do this with me?" He thought maybe he'd get one other person to say yeah. He got 3 other people that said, "Yeah, let's do this." So
okay,
it started at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and they went to Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. That's the time they played games straight in the Game Informer office because the Game Informer office was normally closed during the weekends. So they would, no one would be, distracted or held away from their duties because it was completely volunteer for this.
hmm
So the guy goes, "Okay, the next challenge was picking a game. We got to pick a game all 4 of us can play at all times." And they picked Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii. If you play Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii for 30 hours straight, you could probably start a new game with like none of the secret characters unlocked and unlock everything.
pretty
Because
much.
as far as I know, in Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii, you can either unlock everything by going through the Subspace Emissary story, the single player story, but you can also unlock people just by playing Brawl on a certain stage a certain amount of times. So you just leave the selector stage on random, and you just keep doing matches, doing matches, doing matches. Um, I'd love to know how many things they unlocked if things were left to unlock to begin with, or if they already had everything unlocked from the start. But yeah, they played 30 hours straight Super Smash Brothers Brawl, and they said for people who had to go to the bathroom, the other three would continue playing. So they never really took a break from playing because even if one guy was in the bathroom, the other three were still playing. So it's like they never broke. They never broke. They never broke stride. They were still playing all straight.
Consistently, pretty much.
Yeah, consistently. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Um, and one of the guys that did it, he said he was working on an article about the new Spider-Man 2 game. The Spider-Man 2, I think the PS5 version. No, actually, that's too recent. So anyway, he was working on a new Spider-Man article about a new Spider-Man 2 game, and then he looks at his clock. It's 1:30 in the morning, and the gaming thing was supposed to start at 9 a.m. He just got up from his desk, went to the couch on the other side of his office, and went to sleep there. So he could at least get close to a good night of sleep before everything started at 9 a.m. They said, I remember they said they ran out of Mountain Dew, which was their caffeine source, around the 10th hour, so they didn't know if they were going to be able to get to 30.
Wow.
And they said, and they said by the 30th hour, when they finally hit it at 3 p.m., they were just pushing buttons more than they were actually playing games, which I can imagine. They were up for 30 hours straight, probably on fumes, and they were just pushing buttons, just going through the motions, trying to last till 3 p.m. But they did it. They even had the award to show in Game Informer.
Nice. What's the players' names again? Or at least one of them, at least.
I don't remember. I don't remember, unfortunately.
Okay.
But someone even said in the next Game Informer, a fan who wrote in, he said he and three friends were going to try to one up Game Informer by playing Call of Duty Zombies for 48 hours straight.
Okay.
Listen, I like Call of Duty Zombies, not that much.
Oh yeah, not that much either. I mean, I want to say it's a zombie, guys. I gotta shoot it. That's why the name of the game. I'm trying to tell the younger gamers, hey, we're playing the fucking zombie game. You guys shooting zombies.
Right. So, I don't know if that guy did it, but the Game Informer staff said, hey, if you want to do that, that's more power to you. But just know it's not as easy as it sounds. It's not as easy as it sounds. That's really the only. I just wanted to bring those up because those are the stories that I remember from Game Informer, even if they're years old. I remember. Oh, I also remember Chrono Trigger. They said a sealed copy of Chrono Trigger was $2,000.
Oh wow.
And Batman Returns or on Sega CD, it was going for $1,000 on Sega CD. When game prices were starting to get that to that rate before the bubble burst. It's when the bubble was just forming.
Oh yeah.
Because you have a brand new game that's 20, 25, 30 years old. It's what truck did this fall off of?
Definitely.
So, that's all I really got to say. You got anything else to add, or want to move on?
I just want to say to you guys that to Game Informer and to GameStop, I understand that for years you've been leaking profits, you're not getting as much profits you used to and all, but at the same time, the Game Informer was at least your salvage, at least for long term reasons, because people still read from time to time on certain coverage and stuff like that. But I guess there's the fact of YouTube, social media, that took over things audio visually. Now you can see reviews from different Game Informer employees or IGN employees talk about Catherine from 2011 rather than reading about Catherine in the Game Informer magazine. I can understand that feeling too. So it's a hit and miss. It depends on who wants to read for how long. Because I used to read a lot of newspapers and books and stuff like that to myself when I was a kid. Instead of reading the Game Informer all the time, I was reading like newspapers like New York Newsday and Newsweek and Time Magazine. Whenever I get a chance, I have the money for it at the time. I had to ask my mom for money for the matter. But I also read two other, mainly the newspapers like was like $1.50 and 50 cents even. Now it's up to $3 per bag of the newspapers in stores. So the New York Times now got to be at least $3.50 by now because it was $2.50 when I bought it. The last time I bought New York Times in the newspaper format was back in 2014 during the Iraq War situation. Talking about there was no weapons of mass destruction and shit like that going on at the time. It was that bad big of a news with the conservatives on the internet and all the politics and shit. So, I was into that stuff when I was younger. And now, obviously, I get older. I'm more into YouTube now than ever. And I was see why is that, Game Informer is failing. It sucks. I wish they do something similar format called the Book, like one author did years back. I forgot what the author's name, but he came on this talk show and talking about that there's a book with a video coverage in it called Book in short. It was one of the best innovators of that time, of that kind of that format to make people read more. But that didn't start out yet. After that, it was dead in the water after a few months after he did that. So, if the Game Informer did something to that format, they call it the Vook VOOK, then it'll be like it'll be something different to look at, other than the internet and social media. So that's all I say for the matter with this particular 33 years Game Informer.
Yeah, I do want to bring up one more thing. The reason I stopped subscribing to Game Informer was just because I wasn't reading them. Because I don't really read stuff at home. But the thing is, like I would read it at my job because, like, the down moments at your job, you need something to keep yourself from going to sleep. And I would probably, and if Game Informer was still around, I probably would have resubscribed with this new job I have, just because there are a lot of times where you're just waiting. I'm just waiting for a call to come in to help a customer, but you can't make people call. So I'm just there waiting a lot of times. Sometimes today was actually a lot of calls came in back to back. The flow didn't even stop to like the end, like the last hour, and even then calls were coming in. So, but like there have been Saturdays where I'd be going like 30, 40 minutes without a call. I'd love to have a Game Informer to read, but at that time, see what new games I'll play in my spare time. But that's not happening now.
Oh yeah. If I can say more about Game Informer again, there's also times too Game Informer makes some good strides and opportunities that are very profitable if future magazines were being sold individually. For example, there's this one magazine that Game Informer did back as well as 2016, if not earlier than 2018, of the top 200 games of all time. One of them was Resident Evil 4, happens to make that list up to like number 20. If people could go back to their records, their magazines, to see the matter too. So it was impressive that Resident Evil 4 was that great of a game to the point that Game Informer made it to be this number 20 of the 200. I'm like, damn, if I recall correctly, because I could be wrong about the number itself, but it's definitely in the top 200. That was like, that's some pretty good competition right there among those games. Then happens to be number one was either Legend of Zelda original or one of the RPG games. It was definitely got to be Legend of Zelda because that was the most popular or the most number one thing to talk about.
I think Super Mario Brothers 3 was up there as well.
Yeah.
So
I still got that. I still got that message to this day.
That might have been the like number 2 if Zelda was number 1.
Yeah, something like that. It's got to be the top 25 of Mario 3 especially. But
that was issue 200 actually. That's what they did. And like I remember one time E3 top Hot 50, the 50 hottest games at E3 that they when E3 was still relevant in 2011.
Was it 2011 the top 200 issue?
That I don't remember.
But it got between as early as 2015 all the way to 2017. That's around the time when
it's definite. I think it's before 2015. That sounds way too later. It's whenever issue 200 was, to be honest.
I see.
Because that's why they did it. Issue 200, the top 200 hottest, best games of all time, in their opinion.
Yeah, my magazine of that edition is right next to me on my desk. But I got so many games and stuff on top of it, so my team's trying to get to it. I might must have moved into some other part of the room too as well because before I put my all my games and other stuff on top of my desk and all, I had a clean desk with like another computer on it. It's an old computer, a Sony Vaio computer I could fit on, but I put that in the closet. Everything else, but other than that, it's a blessing to actually have an edition too because I can be a good seller for reselling that is for hardcore gamers, So
Yeah, especially if it's in good condition.
yeah, hopefully it is a good condition. But I definitely saved on to the Halo Infinite cover of the Game Informer magazine, and as well as Psychonauts 2, which that was a big thing back 2 years ago of Psychonauts 2 release. So it's I've so far played the first hour, hour and a half of that game. It was pretty good. But I want to finish playing the first one though. That's the thing I want to play the most of. So
Ready to move on?
oh yeah, definitely.
Because we got more Game Informer news, but we're not gonna have as many memories down memory road
oh
as we
oh yeah,
just
definitely.
had. So just
I'm
let
ready.
me. Okay, OBS. Turn off my camera so people can see what I'm looking at. Former Game Informer staffer offers an actual farewell. Quote, be well, play well. End quote. Apparently, the goodbye post from last week wasn't written by the magazine's team. An unknown former Game Informer staffer has posted what they consider a genuine goodbye on social media after the magazine surprisingly shattered last week after 33 years. The new message implies that the farewell shard shared on August 2nd wasn't written by anyone at Game Informer. On X, a former Game Informer member wrote that the magazine's legacy deserved better than what was previously issued to the public. The new social media post ends with words from former editor-in-chief Matt Miller. Quote, be well, play well, end quote. Additionally, two images were attached that show off the masthead from issue 368, which was in production but won't be finished. The screenshot highlight everyone on who staff who lost their jobs last week. The actual Game Informer X account was closed shortly after the message was shared, but GameSpot screen grabbed it first. Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier posted on X that he asked ChatGPT to create a farewell for Game Informer, and it spit out a similar message to the one shared by Game Informer last week. Schreier also added images that compare the two goodbyes, though it hasn't been confirmed that parent company GameStop used AI to make the message. GameStop closed down Game Informer on August 2nd. The magazine started back in 1991 during the 16-bit era, becoming one of the quintessential video game publication for decades, alongside competitors like EGM and GamePro. The last issue was 367 with Dragon Age, the Veilguard, adorning the cover. Earlier this year, Game Informer started offering standalone subscriptions for the first time. Previously, getting the magazine required either having a GameStop Pro membership or just buying individual issues at stores. At the time of publication, the Game Informer website only features the parting message shared on August 2nd. That means previous cover stories and other content from the magazine's long history are unavailable at this time. There's one comment. Just One Gun goes, thanks, Game Informer. You went further than required and went the extra mile to accommodate. Sorry to read that GameStop hates games and gamers. I agree with him. What do you have to say?
It's yeah, it's a pretty interesting set of events happening with Game Informer, and I can't say much, but I already said I said most of it for the previous topic. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm just saying. What do you? Okay. So we're not repeating. What do you think of that actual farewell from an actual Game Informer editor?
I didn't listen to the entire thing. I will admit that. I listened to some of it. I will admit that I was still reminiscing on the events happening with Game Informer over the 33 years, and thinking back on the articles I read of what Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns Like Patriots review was about, and previewed of it too. And it's wow. I'm thinking back, and I'm like, damn. Cause I remember reading on the bus. I was taking the N4 bus to my grandmother's house, where I'm at now, and it was during the time of the 2008, actually, when the bus fare was like $1.50, $1.75 per ride, and everything else. It's yeah, I'm reminiscing the
Hey,
Game
that was
Informer.
not 2008. That was not 2008. I was taking the bus to work by 2008.
It got to be
That
$1.75 or something back then. It was right. Oh no.
it was $2.25 by the time I left. So, it was $2.25 for the longest time. Before that, it was $2.
Okay, because if I remember correctly, this is back in 2008 when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out on the PS3. So I was
Close,
thinking
yeah, pretty close. Yeah,
it had to be $1.50. No cheaper than that. One way though. It's
I think it was more expensive than that, to be honest. Because I remember it being $2 and then it being like $2.25 for the longest time.
if I may ask, Triple J, when else I start taking the bus by yourself?
Uh, Not counting the few times I took it to see you when you were at your aunt's. 2000, I think 2006.
That was
No, no,
around the
no,
time Metal Gear
2005.
Solid Guns of the Patriots coming out around that time.
2005, actually.
Okay, all right. Yeah, lots a lot of memories back then with the gaming events and all. It's all the I can't remember every single thing in the Game Informer magazine. Obviously, there was some good artwork
Right.
though by some Game Informer readers that submit their artwork too to the magazine over the years, and it was pretty good. They're very creative. I wish I could have the one that stuck in my head though with Sonic and with Mario, and there's one with. Did they do Catherine? I don't think so. That was too late though. That's like 2011, 2012. I wasn't around that time to get the magazine at the time. So, but yeah, it's
Yes.
pretty cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So this isn't a rehash of last. I'm just going to talk about the message.
Sorry.
At least this shows that the Game Informer staff really did, or at least some of them did really care about their readers. It's
They're
just a
very
shame
dedicated.
that they were owned by a company who doesn't care about gamers.
Yeah,
Them being GameStop.
yeah. It's Game Informer themselves. Back in 10 years ago plus, it was about the gamers for the gamers. Even though GameStop themselves will try to be cheap with their workers, also try to connive people to not connive people to try to cheat them out of more money. Because I remember correctly when I went to the one in Long Island, one of the Long Island GameStops, I was gypped by at least $25 because I was signed up for the Game Informer magazine, but somehow, some way, the seller behind the counter or whatever just chipped me like somehow, some way. I can't explain it, but I checked the receipts and all. I was like, okay, I got the Game Informer magazine. I got my friend's gift for his birthday. That was Kevin, by the way, and all. That's our friend from high school and all. But
I got a
after,
story about him too. So
so I'm like, wait a second, I should have to give her a magazine in the mail sooner or later. I checked weeks later. I said, hey, Mister such at the Game Informer website or the customer service, like, hey, how come I didn't get my magazine yet? I got the receipt on. I'm sorry, you didn't get you didn't get set up for the magazine subscription. I was like, oh man, that sucks. He chipped me out of at least $15 right there. It gotta be. I know it sounds like reminiscent from the past, but it is what it is back then. So that's how
well, in
GameStop can be sometimes.
in Funko, and when back before GameStop before GameStop purchased Funko Land. This is back when Funko Land was still around. Um, Me and Kevin were hanging out. I forgot to bring my copy of SmackDown 2 Know Your Role for the Sony PlayStation. So Kevin wanted to get finally, this would be the day that he picks up his copy. So we went to get SmackDown 2 Know Your Role from his local Funko Land, and we didn't have the money. We were a few dollars short, or he was a few dollars short. So we went to his grandmother, who was like because there was like Funko Land, like in a strip mall where there's like other stores.
Hmm.
We went to his grandmother. She gave him the extra money he needed, and then we went to back to Funko Land. Now that we had the money, and they raised the price on us. And they're
Wow.
like, "Oh, but we'll take it off if you buy the strategy guide." And it's at first I was like, "Well, if they're taking money off, if we can afford both, why not get?" And Kevin was just like, "The hell with this." And we ended up getting the game at a different store. Well, he ended up getting his copy at a different store. Um, but
How long you
yeah,
waited though? That's the problem.
huh?
How long you waited for that? While the price will increase at the time, like a
It
few
was like
days.
10 minutes. We were gone like 10 minutes.
That's it.
Yes, we came back the same day. We just went to get an extra few dollars from his grandmother
I
because
said
she
ten
was out shopping
days.
at some other store in the same strip mall.
I said 10 days with 10 minutes. Damn, we were screwed both ways. You and I in the location.
It
Like,
was
what they
the
have?
same day. It was the same hour. I even say the same half hour. We weren't gone. Well, we were not gone that long.
You sure it was like 10 years later or 10 hours
Positive,
later?
positive. It was the same day. We were there the same day. Game Bunko Land wasn't open for 10 hours a day.
We were both chipped in the same location at the side of things. That's not good. One was called Funko and now it's called GameStop. That's the only difference at the time with us.
I remember one saying Funko Land turned to game
Funko,
shit.
Funko
Uh,
and game shit.
yeah.
Oh wow, we got two good movies right here that you guys are seeing and hearing.
Yeah. Wow. So we actually, to be fair, there was another game store in the same strip mall. So like when Kevin got screwed, and Kevin's like, he's like, come with me. I'm like, well, you're not gonna get it. And he's like, I know another game store that's in this strip mall. And I'm like, you sure? He's like, I've seen video games behind the counter. They gotta sell them. This was like a place that sold the Kitty, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen video games.
Oh yeah, those
Non-violent,
games, yeah.
non-violent, fine for kids, fine for
Barbie.
everyone. Yeah. Um,
How about the What's Your One
it's,
Dalmatians?
it's actually funny. When the woman saw we were disappointed that they didn't have SmackDown 2, Know Your Role, she's like, you could try Funko Land. And we told her they actually raised the price on us. She's like, really? And then Kevin did tell me a little bit later, whether it was days later or weeks later, that Funko Land actually got in trouble for that. I guess they tried it one too many times.
Really?
And they got caught. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They had a scheme going on the whole time of these last few years prior to the GameStop fiasco going on of 2022, 2021, give or take. That's all. It's karma.
Yeah. Anyway, ready to move on? Because I think
Yes.
we got more Game Informer news.
Oh yeah, let's keep them coming.
Game Informer editor-in-chief says goodbye after GameStop deletes previous message. So, okay, this might be the same. Okay, so this is Matthew Miller. Okay, so basically this is the same story. So we'll just skip that one because I tried to see if it was like a different editor that posted because apparently his first message was deleted.
Yes.
But no, it's the same. It's the same guy. He just posted another message.
Okay.
So anyway, moving on. Dead by Daylight and Five Nights at Freddy's are finally crossing over. The collaboration will launch in summer 2025. Two iconic and popular modern video game horror franchises are finally crossing over. Dead by Daylight and Five Nights at Freddy's. However, the collaboration won't arrive till summer 2025, so fans will be waiting for a while. The Dead by Daylight Twitter account posted the announcement, but didn't provide any other details about what the crossover would entail. Just the summer 2025 release window. A few hours before the announcements, Five Nights at Freddy's creator Scott Cawthon teased the collaboration, and fans were speculating that it was going to involve Fortnite. Five Nights at Freddy's hits its 10-year anniversary this week, so an announcement of this magnitude definitely has the fans excited. As for what the collaboration will bring, Freddy Fazbear could be added as a new killer, while a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza restaurant could be a new map, just to name a few somewhat obvious possibilities. Dead by Daylight has had many collaborations with a variety of different properties, including Tomb Raider, Dungeons & Dragons, and Castlevania. Unfortunately, developer Behavior Interactive laid off almost 100 employees from the studio earlier this year, continuing the video game industry's brutal wave of layoffs. And there's no comments. So what do you think about Dead by Daylight crossing over with Five Nights at Freddy's?
Pretty cool and interesting. I'm not a big Fridays at Freddy's fan as well as Dead by Daylight per se, but I can understand the gameplay and the atmosphere of each of these games. It's gonna be very weird at the same time, cool at the same time. It's wow. I did not know they're gonna do the Fridays at Freddy's thing in Dead by Daylight at the same time and Dead by Daylight. It's Wow. I wonder how's it going to work.
Well, like they said, one Freddy Fazbear, who is the bear in the. Have you ever watched like gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's?
I played it at least a couple of
Okay,
times.
so like the bear that's like the lead bear, the brown bear. I think he wears like a red suit.
Yes.
Um, he could be a killer. They said the Five Nights at Freddy's location, the pizzeria could be a map.
Oh, I
These are a couple
see.
of possibilities.
Okay.
What
That's
I
pretty
really,
cool right there. Yeah.
what really would be fun, and they could even probably, if they could, if the servers could, because I know Dead by Daylight's usually like four people at a time. If the
Yeah.
servers could handle like 16 people, which it's not out of the realm of possibilities. If they Dead by Daylight could do that, have like all the characters of Five Nights at Freddy's be killers, and have them going all around the map at once. Or just have four people trying to avoid like four or five killers, and all the killers be Five Nights at Freddy's characters.
Hmm.
That's what I would do. But I mean, Dead by Daylight, it almost seems like they're competing with Fortnite to get as many collaborations as possible. I mean, how long ago did we talk about Dead by Daylight collaborating with Alan Wake?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, but and I think Dead by Daylight, didn't they also do something with Chucky?
Yep. That's from like at least a year ago, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
I like that. You lose your good guy doll, don't worry. He'll be sure to find you. So, yeah, so I mean, Dead by Daylight, it continues. While I'm not a Dead by Daylight player, or a Five Nights at Freddy's player, the possibilities do sound awesome, which is why I wanted to talk about this.
And I mean,
But
people also want to watch the movie as well, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that came out last year.
I didn't even know there was a movie, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a
Um,
movie that came out back at late around October 2023, no later than like earlier this year, called Five Nights at Freddy's the movie, and it came out starring this guy. I don't think the actor's thing. I don't think he's not well mentioned among most people who watch those big epic movies. But but this movie particularly itself, they did had good sales, good revenue, or the what's it called, the box office and all. So it's the review was all right, average at best, but people watched it anyway. It was pretty good. I hear. I'd heard from another gamer of mine, a gamer friend I talked to for years now. He watched Five Nights at Freddy's with his stepfather and daughter, stepfather, the stepsister, and all, and they and he said it was average at best for him because he used to watch. He played at one time Five Nights at Freddy's as well. So
yeah. So that's yeah. So I mean, this is pretty cool. Um, and this is coming from someone who's not a fan of either franchise, but you know, um, like I said, maybe they could do like a new killer mode and just have all the characters, four or five, however many animatronic killers are in Five Nights at Freddy's, be in the same Dead by Daylight map.
that'd be overwhelming right there.
Well, you would need a much bigger map, obviously, but
Yeah. It's
and
it's gonna be weird too. You also have to do like a team. What's it called? A team takedown. Like
yeah,
four or five the Five Nights at Freddy's characters, along with like 7 to 10 like other victims.
right.
So
That's why I said they might have to extend the player base if they wanted to do that. But it could be a new mode. You know,
try to do
and
they should do it instead of by 2025. They should do it by Halloween of 2024 if they can do it in time.
well, I don't think they can. That's why it's September 2025.
Oh, okay, that's even better. Okay, never mind. I didn't pay attention to that.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
Yeah, ready to move on. Yeah, let's move on.
All right. We only got a few stories left.
Yeah, sure.
Microsoft confirms Xbox Game Pass August 2024 Wave 1 lineup. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Mafia Definitive Edition, and more. Microsoft has revealed the first batch of games heading to Xbox Game Pass in August 2024. In Xbox Wire posts, Microsoft confirmed Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Mafia Definitive Edition, and Creatures of Ava will be added to the subscription service. All of these will be available to subscribers via PC, Xbox, and Xbox Cloud Gaming if you are an Ultimate tier subscriber. The first of these three games, Creatures of Ava, will be available to Game Pass subscribers starting August 7th, which was 3 days ago. This was initially revealed at the Xbox Partner Showcase held in March and will be available on Game Pass on its launch day. In Creatures of Ava, players control Vic, a young woman who tames wild creatures suffering from an infection using a flute. The gameplay is a lot like Power World, but instead of using violence, players try to save the infected creatures. Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy will be added to the Game Pass library starting August 8th, which was 2 days ago. This compilation featuring remakes of Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot Warped received an 8 out of 10 in IGN's review. Largely standing the test of time mechanically, Crash's first outings gets an incredible facelift in this collection, we said. Mafia Definitive Edition, which Microsoft confirmed last week was heading to Game Pass, is a remake of the 2002 crime drama Mafia. It also earned an 8 out of 10 in IGN's review, in which we said, oozing with 1930s atmosphere, Mafia Definitive Edition is a successful rejuvenation of the best story in the series. So are you excited? And for people who want to know, these are the games that left Game Pass or leaving Game Pass in 5 days. Airborne Kingdom is leaving Cloud Console and PC. Off-World Trading Company is leaving PC. Shadow Warrior 3 is leaving Cloud Console and PC. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is leaving Cloud Console and PC. Are you interested in any of these games that are coming to Game Pass?
I thought they were leaving. You said the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes, but I'm talking about Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy and Mafia Definitive Edition mostly.
Oh, okay, yeah, those games I'm really excited for. The Mafia Definitive Edition, and what's the other one called? Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. How about Crash Bandicoot 4 by any chance?
They didn't. That's not coming. That's not coming at least this time. And the last one is Creatures of Ava.
Oh wow, okay, because Crash Bandicoot 4. Now, I did play the same trilogy on all three games. Mainly on the first one, because that's the most challenging one, in my opinion, of any Crash Bandicoot game. Because that's when it made people think about in games back 30 years ago. And made a big difference in my life back then to do those type of games back then. And also, I play a lot of Tetris and read a lot as well. So that's me back when I was a kid. But then the other games, it's like... I don't know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the other one you mentioned. Those games is like I don't care for. I mean,
those games are leaving, so
yeah, I didn't care for those games really. To be honest with myself, I do try to keep track of the Game Pass and all for every week, every month, depends on my what I'm doing. Because as you can tell, I play a lot of Apex for the sake of tournaments and stuff to make money off of whenever I can. That's starting to become iffy for the last couple months myself. I will admit that to you guys. So it's but other than that, because Apex, they tried to maybe they'll spend like $20 for each split of the season, because it's a split one, split two of each season. So other than that, we'll talk about that later if you want to. And it's ridiculous that they tried to pull off the what's called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as a part of Game Pass. And that's why they make me play for it all the time. But it's whatever to me. But other than that, yeah, Crash Bandicoot, thumbs up, 2 thumbs up on that one. I appreciate Xbox for doing that. So,
how do you feel about Mafia Definitive Edition?
Here's the screwed up part. I bought Mafia regular edition on the Steam store for that was on sale for not even $5, and I also got the definitive edition at one point. I think it was part of my Game Pass. I think it was Game Pass something. I remember I bought either a free copy of it or someone gifted it to me. I forgot which one it was, but I can't see it on my library when I'm being for free on my Xbox edition. But I saw a gameplay of it back in the past when I was in my college years in the 2000s. We were playing both Mafia as well as what's the other one? The Godfather games and all. It was in the dormitory. It's in his room itself. It was like about 5 of us in that room, and we would see him playing Mafia and the other one. But that's the time right before all that shit went to fucked up territory with all us as a group. Well, me and the group actually. That was back in like what's it called? 2006. So it's back then it was different times. So, but other than that, the college experience back then was pretty good and all with the gaming aspect. That kept me going there at one point until I couldn't go back until 2007. Then I had my money problems with between my family and all back then too. So it's kind of like I couldn't go to school at the time. Back to that specific school, it was too far away anyway. So, but other than that, the Mafia, Godfather games though, those are the shit back like Scarface. Like I wish I had those games that I could own back then. But now they're gonna put on the Game Pass. I'm like, more power to myself. I mean, like, yes, I can finally do a
Yeah,
gameplay of Mafia.
I'd love to see Scarface appear one day, and the Godfather games.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that'd be great because the Scarface, like the one that the world is yours and all, it's I uploaded, I reposted that trailer. It was probably one of the best trailers I've seen of any game of all time. And they first you get the power, then you get the money, then you get the woman, then you get your revenge. And then Tony Montana was like, "You fuck with me, world. You're fucking with the best." And he started going downtown, and fucking declaring war on Miami, whatever it was. Dude, I'm like, damn, that was the shit back then. I hear, I couldn't get it, and I was too busy with school and all back then, trying to get up and go to school and all. So it's yeah.
thing is, speaking of Scarface, the world is yours. Um, the regular editions are not so expensive. PlayStation 2, $30 loose.
Oh yeah.
Xbox, $36.23 loose. So,
And if I see it on Amazon, they'll ask like $75 for a used copy back a year or two ago. It was crazy.
the PAL cop, the only really, this is just Scarface, so I'm not talking about the Godfather games, but like the collector's edition and like the greatest hits. Wait a minute. Okay, so like the collector's edition are the only ones that are really going to cost a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get the basic edition, which is a PS2 game, so you don't have to worry about DLC that you might miss out on,
Yeah.
then you don't really. It's not a game that's breaking the bank.
Right.
Um, but yeah. So anyway, my experience, Crash Bandicoot. I do have Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2 on my PS3. I don't have the ability to save, so but I probably just have to format memory card save so I can save the few digital PlayStation games that I have. If I can still do that at this point, I don't know why I couldn't. But I'm a big fan of Crash Bandicoot 1. I never played Crash Bandicoot 2 as much. I always played 1 more. I guess I just wanted to beat it in order since I had the availability to do that. So there's that. Mafia Definitive Edition. Mafia needed a definitive edition. I played the original game on PS2. Oh my god, was that game dark. And I mean dark graphic-wise. You had to turn the brightness up on your TV if you wanted to be able to see what the hell you were doing. But other than that, it was a great game. So, if a definitive edition where it's easier to see even at night, that's awesome. Did you get? I did play Mafia 2. I beat Mafia 2. I have Mafia 2 for 360 on my Xbox One. That's a great game. I really don't have anything else to say about it, though.
I heard that Mafia 3 was at one point on sale for about like not even $20. But
Yeah,
also,
I tried to. I just like Dead Rising 3. I tried to get into Mafia 3. I just couldn't.
I saw the trailer of it too. It was about the Black Mafia this time, which was that's based on a true
Yeah,
story.
1960s Chicago.
Yep. And that's when all the Chicago shootout was going on with the Black Panthers and everything else in the meantime. So
Yeah, and Vito Scaletti, who was the protagonist in Mafia 2, was you meet like in the first hour.
okay, who's he again? I'm sorry, the Vito what again?
Vito Scaletti.
Vito Skillet. He was part of what family? Is that's him in real life or that name?
No, he was the protagonist in Mafia 2,
Oh, Mafia 2. Okay. All right.
but he also appeared as his own as. But in Mafia 2, he was a guy returning from the army with $3 to his name. Um, by the end of Mafia 2, um, well, I just don't want to go over the ending, but Mafia 2, he joined the Mafia, he got in with the Mafia, and then Mafia 3, he was like one of the crime bosses.
Oh, okay. All right. Obviously, the Mafia games are based on the Italian mafias throughout the United States: Chicago, Illinois, New York City, New York, Los Angeles, California. Even if you go deeper into these type of crime lord syndicates, Mexico, New Mexico City, and only it's even Arizona with what's that town in Arizona again? Not Arizona,
I don't,
New Mexico State actually. Excuse me. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Um,
Yeah, that's based. You have to do research on this stuff. It's a lot of kerfuffle back in those days.
but the thing is, like Mafia 2, that story had a surprise ending. Like me and my cousin were playing it, and when we saw the ending, our mouths dropped. I don't know if I think I went over it in a previous podcast, but I
Yes,
could
you
go
have.
over it again if you want.
Yes, you have. But let's have ruin the ending for the
Okay.
new mafia members like myself.
Okay. All right. So ready to move on?
Yes, let's please. Let's
Okay.
not spoil it for us. Not yet.
Lollipop Chainsaw Repop launching early. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop hasn't suffered another delay, but it's instead being bumped up nearly 2 weeks to September 12th, 2024. As reported by Gamatsu, developer Dragami Games confirmed the change would affect all versions of the game: PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC in North America, Central and South America, and Europe. The previous release date of September 25th came after another delay out of summer 2024 and before that 2023. But as its latest September 12th date is just a month away, it's likely Dragami Games will stick to this one. Lollipop Chainsaw Repop is a remake of the original Lollipop Chainsaw, which follows high school cheerleader and zombie hunter descendant Juliet Stalling as she fights through the apocalypse with her boyfriend's severed head at her side. Repop is a definitive version of the game, which leaves the story unchanged with the focus on quality of life improvements and additional gameplay content, Dragami Games CEO Yoshimi Yasuda said in June. The game picked up a cult following, but in our 5 out of 10 review, IGN said Lollipop Chainsaw doesn't even attempt to differentiate itself from the genre, and most of what it does try new in the realm of characters and writing ultimately ends up taking away from an incredible on-paper action game. So here's the comments. Gaming Devi 800 goes, probably the right move. Mortal Kombat 1 DLC, Zelda, and Greedfall 2 early access were all were within a day of its release. Ah, that might be the reason.
Hmm.
Uh, Foxtrot 360 goes, I had a blast with this when it came out. However, I'm worried it'll repeat a pattern where nostalgia will get me to buy this and I'll play it and be like, that didn't age well. Still want to play it again, though. And Gamer C369 goes, not age well, huh? Don't worry, the game was not all that well received back then. And Carmela Pies goes, wait for the eventual price drop and get it then. That way, if it sucks, you didn't pay much for it. And I want to see the replies. Foxtrot goes, hoping it hits Game Pass at some point. And Attack the Aaron goes, same, got burnt by Tomb and Star Wars Bounty Hunter. So, Lollipop Chainsaw, we don't have Xbox Series, I don't think you have PS5.
Nope, not yet. Still counted.
So the only way you could play it is on PC. Would you be interested in getting Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, or?
It'd be nice though. Here's the thing though. I never played the original Light Chainsaw on the 360 yet, and I think the 360 version is slightly cheaper than the Light Chainsaw coming out this year. So it's
Let me see what it goes for.
last time I checked, it was like $50 for a used copy of Light Chainsaw on the 360. That includes the manual and disc drive and disc.
Okay, so the PS3 loose copy is $48.85
Right.
but for the 360, a loose copy is $29.
Okay, well, cheaper, a lot cheaper on the 360. Okay.
Yeah, so I played Lollipop Chainsaw, the first one, to like the third or fourth level. It's okay. It's does lose its appeal really fast. I do have to say.
Although
When
my
I
dream came true from that moment I saw the gameplay of Lollipop Chainsaw.
what dream?
Let's just say that like I dreamt about this cheerleader using a chainsaw attacking people with it or zombies with it or whatever it was. And I was back like at least like 10 years ago. I dreamt about something like that. I was like, wow, it came much true that actual moment, the Lollipop Chainsaw. I thought it was
Okay,
my
well
idea originally, but you know.
this game came out. This game originally came out like 15 years ago. So
Well, the original Life Chainsaw came out as well as 2012. So, uh, like prior to that 2012 year, I was dreaming about something similar to that fashion. I can't explain it when exactly, but it was definitely at least a year before Life Chainsaw came out in its trailers and all. So it was like, wow.
okay.
I'm
Um,
sorry to mention that, but still, it's kind of interesting, you know. Like a girl like that in some high school just slicing people with chainsaws. It's kind of like that's unruly. That's like I think that's
we're
sexy
not,
at the
we're
same
not, we're not
time.
we're not high schoolers ourselves. Remember that.
I'm sorry. It's just that I was, I was just I was wondering to myself like, what is actually happening? Like, wow, that's all of a years later. I'm like, wow, actually, it came to fruition that the kind of gameplay the gameplay of July Pop Chainsaw. So
Yeah. Well. Like I said, I can understand it. I would have to get the PS3 version if I wanted to play it. Which I just am not in. I might get it again someday, but it's really far down there. It's not like some game I want to get. But like I said, I played it a couple. I played a couple of the levels, and it's fun in short bursts. But I wouldn't suggest anyone try marathoning it.
you get tired
Now
very easily.
this is the original version, so I'm not talking about the version that hasn't come out yet. So
Of course not.
maybe they added something that makes it more fun, but um, you know, we don't know. We all I know is what I played back in you know about 12 years ago. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
anything else to add, or ready to move on?
Uh, yeah, if you guys got more topics to do, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we're down to the last story for tonight.
Okay. Oh yes, I
Uh,
mentioned that to you earlier tonight. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, this is was added last minute. Former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki died, age 56. Wojcicki, one of the most prominent women in tech, had been living with cancer for 2 years. Susan Wojcicki, the former YouTube CEO and one of the first Google employees, has died at the age of 56 after 2 years of living with cancer. Her husband, Dennis Troper, announced the news of her death on Friday. In a post on Facebook, he said, "It is with profound sadness that I share the news of Susan Wojcicki passing. My beloved wife of 26 years and mother to our 5 children left us today after 2 years of living with non-small cell lung cancer." The Google chief executive, Sundar Pichai, wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Saturday, "Unbelievably saddened by the loss of my dear friend, Susan Wojcicki, after 2 years of living with cancer. She is as core to the history of Google as anyone, and it's hard to imagine the world without her." Wojcicki, one of the most prominent women in tech, and this is the article speaking, stepped down from her role at YouTube in 2023, a position she held for 9 years, saying she wanted to start a new chapter focused on my family, health, and personal projects I'm passionate about. "It would be one of the best decisions of my life," Wojcicki wrote when she announced her departure. She was previously a senior vice president for ad products at Google and became CEO of YouTube in 2014. Before Google, Wojcicki worked at Intel and Bain and Company. The headline of this article was attended on August 10th to correct a misspelling of Wojcicki. Um, I hope you okay, and this is just the Guardian trying to get money. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go. I'm the person that mentioned it. I guess you say it firstly, obviously with the it's unexpected. But I think you should go first too because I think you're the one who've been affected by it the most with your YouTube career the most. So,
Well, she definitely affected it the most. She definitely affected it a lot and in a negative way. So first, I want to say I'm sorry for her husband, um, and I'm definitely feel bad for her children. Um, I know
yeah,
what it's like to lose a mother. Well, my mother
understood.
was only um, was not a mother very for a very long time. So, but I can't imagine that pain. Um, even though my mother was had a lot of questionable things to answer for. Um, but
Understood.
so I do want to say to her husband and to her children, I'm sorry for your loss. Um, but as but as far as her role was as YouTube, I don't think she did anything that was really well. I think she should have been fired from Google for a long time before she stepped down. Um, she did not do well with YouTube. She did not handle ad apocalypse well. She and then
Several of them actually.
yeah, and then she also she did not handle that FTC thing well. Um, by catering to the FTC, saying they wanted to go after YouTubers. Susan was the one steering the ship at this time. She should have stepped up. And I don't know. And YouTube has to be the luckiest website in the world because any one of these scandals, whether it be the FTC going after YouTubers or Apocalypse, the many incarnations of Apocalypse, that would have killed off any other website. Just one of those things.
Oh yeah,
So I don't know how you. It must be Google's funding that's keeping YouTube afloat among all these controversies. Um, but yeah, I just think she was awful at her job, and I don't think she should have had it as long as she did. And I think she really didn't favor herself. I mean, a lot of people do blame her. She's at least if you're not going to blame her for ad apocalypse, you really can blame her for the FTC thing. All YouTube had to do was create an age gate for people who logged in, and the FTC thing would have never happened. And
oh yeah.
instead, they said the FTC could go after YouTubers, and YouTube wasn't going to do anything to protect them. And at Apocalypse, okay, I wasn't making much money for my videos. I never made the payout, so I never made money for my videos at all. But at least when us people that had a few hundred subscribers were making a few pennies here, a nickel there, whatever it was from ad revenue. At least it was incentive. Maybe the next video you hit record will be a big video, and if not, maybe it'll at least make a little few drips, you know. And then when they just did ad apocalypse and killed many partners, or killed the partnership of many partners, she never answered for that either. Because I hated her response. Oh, we're going to talk to the people that actually did the bad thing.
Hmm.
You're gonna talk to them unless it's a 2x4 across the face is your version of talking to them. That's not that's not a that's not that's not enough punishment.
Oh
But
yeah.
you're gonna punish everyone else who didn't do anything wrong just because they don't have enough subscribers. So that's so yeah. I it's sad that Susan Wojcicki died, but honestly, I don't have anything positive to say about her in her professional life. Dr. Games 101, you got anything to say?
I want to say to give respects to her as a person, as a mother, and with her family and all. Like give respect to the fact that how she when she passed and all, and hopefully things will get better over time with that family. But professionally speaking, as a CEO of YouTube, and her performance being at YouTube is more like anti-consumer, anti-YouTube user or YouTube gaming user at best of us as YouTube gamers for like how many years now so far. Me, I've been on YouTube since as early as August 30th, 2006. That was my first ever YouTube channel as just a user. And then by 2009, I did myself some political commentating after several stints in experiments of uploading YouTube and all back in 2007, 2008. And then by 2015, of August, if not September, of October, I started doing YouTube Gaming, it's called. And I started steered away from politics into gaming altogether. That's my real passion from the start of it all. I've always wanted to game online with others to make profits or some sort of donations or anything of that sort through my gaming. That's why they have the PayPal, the MySpace, the PayPal, the Cash App, everything. That's going on for years now. People just donate left and right through the YouTube community and all, and that was a great thing, racing for most well-mentioned YouTubers out there that are gaming. But now with the apocalypse and all, I created this mishap of mistrust. It's like I understand that not everyone's gonna be picture perfect for advertiser friendly stuff, but at the same time, the advertisers, the companies like Coca-Cola, or perhaps Abercrombie and Fitch, if I pronounce it correctly, and Louis Vuitton, those type of companies, they have no say in about it because they did their own sins too, with the sweatshops or with the concealing of nutrition information via the Pepsi Colas and all that stuff going on, Coca Cola, everything else. So they try to say, oh, we want to have the best YouTubers on the platform, or the best clean YouTubers, or to call it like that. It paraphrased what they were saying online through these press conferences slash videos and stuff I saw over the years during the apocalypses. So they say, oh, we had to do such and such with these videos and monetize them for our sake, not for the maker's sake of YouTube, the YouTube users like myself, for example, especially with Copa, which affected a lot of people trying to go through every single video of their career as on YouTube. That's impossible to do that with my gaming channel, especially where all the explicit material is at, with all the blood, violence, and is it for kids, if not for kids, and all with the Copa Act and stuff. So it's kind of like I can't go through that stuff individually on my own as one person. I'm a one-man show on my own YouTube channel called Dr. Gaze 101. And if I own my 3 channels altogether, I have on YouTube, historically speaking, as well as currently. And yeah, it's like you try to be accommodated at the same time, like you want to fight, be an activist or advocate, or whatever. That's a no-no in today's world to do that, because obviously you're not going to get much views out of it. Not only views out of it, also the fact that you're not going to get no support out of it because of the censorship. So even now they go towards the gaming aspect of it, you still can't get coverage because you have your perspective on the platform. So it's kind of like, what's the person in the internet and YouTube altogether if you can't broadcast yourself as the slogan said back 10, 15 years ago? YouTube, broadcast yourself. But they don't like that anymore. There's too many people with different thoughts and ideas, and they're trying to create this narrative. And I'm like, it's okay to do that to some extent, but you can't control the entire narrative all the time, every time. People will think differently than you over time. People will be more relevant than you over time. Whether you're a politician, a banker, or a CEO of a company, or even just a person from Long Island that lives there for 7 years like myself, it's not my fault that, I'm so different, or Triple J is so different, or Angry Joe, or any one of these YouTube gamers is so different from each other, from different perspectives on why the game is bad or why the game is good and such. Like, you can't control that all the time. Like, you just can't. You have to let the market free flow, and everyone wants control at the top. The higher the adult age group you go to, like the baby boomers and all. Not to blame them entirely, but Susan was a baby boomer, being 50 in her 50s and all. So it's kind of like her hand is involved with this Google company for how many years? 25 years. So it's it was expected that she was an advertisement aspect of the company, not the tech aspect. So her duty was trying to advertise, and she did a horrible job at that. I attended several colleges, whether it's successful or not. I attended several classes, business mathematics. I attended the marketing classes of the 5 Ps, everything else, all that, or the 4 Ps originally was called. I attended those classes, and Susan didn't think like that. She has to think. I think, in my perspective, so me as a YouTuber since 2006, by the way, people, she should have done a better job. I could be her advisor at this rate, or even one of us could be her advisor.
Keep in mind, 2006. I don't think she was there. So that's
no, like, but she was there. But you got to say, like, she was there for 25 years with Google altogether.
Yeah, but she didn't have the power that she had over YouTube until 2014.
Okay, never mind. Well, excuse me if I overspoke about the matter. Excuse me, guys. But the point is that, like, she, over time, she sees the company, forming, growing, expanding, and there's different outlets of talk on these platforms, YouTube, Facebook, MySpace, and such and such, and trying to conceal that from everyone on the internet, from other people, whether it's a general audience or not. You're just playing a disservice. That you're ruining the purpose of YouTube as a whole. The purpose of YouTube is supposed to be user-based content, not platform, not the publisher place content like that, a Time Magazine or CNN or NBC or any of those places. That's what it's for the publisher to decide what's good to show to people or not. But if it's based on user base, you're just ruining your own website. And sooner or later, I don't know how long will this be though. You're gonna shut down your site eventually. After a while, they get a Blip TV or MySpace turn into a music group all of a sudden. Like it was like, what the hell? Because Blip TV was a go-to for showing free at one point, but they turned that into like a TV based system as well. And
not so much because I was on Blip.tv. What happened is Blip.tv had they basically said if you didn't have enough subscribers or views a month, you were going to lose your user account, and you were going to lose your user account. So you could only watch videos and you could only comment on videos through your Facebook account.
Okay,
that's what got me kicked off Blip.tv, because I didn't have enough views to stay on after their threshold.
Understood. So,
and I just said I'm not going to watch Nostalgia Critic videos on Blip.tv and have to comment with my Facebook profile.
I don't know about the Facebook part, but yeah, thanks for letting me know about the matter. But I guess you could say, based on my experiences, it's kind of anti-productive based on what we were taught in classes of our during our time, whether it's in college, high school, it doesn't matter. Because back when the internet started, back in the 90s, publicly speaking, it was the free internet, the free flow of information to anyone out there willing to search for it, research it easily. But I see that the government, the powers that be altogether, the companies altogether, they try to grasp everything, try to build this Mr. and Mrs. We're going to tell you what to do. Like, it doesn't work like that. It works both ways. Yes, I understand they can censor us anytime right now. Hell, they can even censor this segment of our YouTube podcasting of ours, and just be like, oh, we don't know what we're not gonna give these people no chances of being out there and about, and that's fine to some extent. But eventually, the information will be out there to people just sharing it. You understand? Are you going to delete the URL to it at this rate? I mean, you're ruining the aspect of the internet as we know it. As YouTube, at one example, doing that for the last 7 years now. And I was doing YouTube gaming mainly. I wasn't even talking about politics as much for the last at least 3-4 years now, until recently, until like a year or two ago. So it's kind of like, it's like, I don't know what to say. Like, my history is that bad for this platform of YouTube to broadcast my views and stuff out there, because it's anti-consumerism or anti-business, whatever, knowing that people still will so speak no matter what. And so that's how I feel about YouTube, and in some way at the same time, it's useful at the same time, because I'm actually moving my own goalposts too, like they move their goalposts. I mean, what else are they going to do? They're going to shut down the website of my URL? I mean, that's good. That's going to be very devastating as a company. As YouTube, it has a starting point right there. So that's all I got to say for the matter. In my perspective, with Susan as CEO, if it was someone else, it might be a little different. But other than that, it's just that she was not advertising friendly with regular users like ourselves, especially with Copa.
She was not content creator friendly.
Yes, you're right. Not content creator friendly, especially the ones that are not making not billions, but millions of subscribers, or like Mr. Beast or PewDiePie. Now, Mr. Beast, at one time, now we're hearing with Mr. Beast that he's involved with some sort of scandal with children or whatever the case may be. That's going to ruin our chances of being well-mentioned YouTubers, or just YouTubers that stay on the platform long enough, because of this situation with Mr. Beast and all. And then you got to mention about PewDiePie with the N-word years back and all. It's like, what do you expect? Like, we're pure human beings. It is what it is. Like, I'm sure if I ever become the well-mentioned next Mr. Beast or PewDiePie, or Triple J next Mr. Beast, PewDiePie, whatever, would there be something from our past that's going to be brought up sooner or later about, like, some sort of scandal where we were, like, there's something wrong with us or whatever. Like, it's ridiculous. It's never ended cycle of, like, rise to fame or rise to respect of fame. It sucks. I wish it would be like non-existent or not be able to control it, but at the same time, you can't control everything. Like I'm sure the stuff I mention in my political content on YouTube, whatever, it's taboo to most people to talk about from the powers that be up above. They don't want that information to get out about what I say back 10, 15 years ago about certain candidates or certain politicians, whatever. It's not my fault that there's this free flow information on the internet for anyone to see. You know, so get over it, politicians. Get over it, YouTube. Get over it, MySpace, Facebook, whatever. You know,
MySpace doesn't exist anymore. I don't
it's
think.
still there. It's still just you do music. That's all they do
Uh,
is music. I have an account there. I actually contacted an old friend from high school, but he hasn't responded back to my my information, my message in like 10 years now. I think he abandoned MySpace, but still, it's like, you're not going to fool everyone all the time, every time, like Abraham Lincoln will say. You're not going to, it's just not going to happen. So I think with Susan, I know it's not sounding being overcritical with her, but it's like this is what happened over the years with her being CEO of YouTube for that long. And based on my experience, that is. And I'm sure Triple J can at least partially attest to what I've been saying for the last 5 minutes now. So that's all I got to say for the matter.
yeah. I really don't have anything else to add. So I guess I'll just end it by saying I hope you enjoyed this episode. This was episode 104 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. The next episode will be on August 24th. Try to start at 9 p.m. Eastern. We did start about 10 minutes late today, just because me and Dr. Games 101 were talking off behind the scenes. So it actually wasn't a technical issue this time. Dr. Games 101, do you have any plans for tomorrow?
I just want to say to you guys that I do apologize for not doing as much gameplaying for the last several days. It's not a technical issue. It's just something was going on within my finances, stuff like that, other things going on in my life. I'll do more gameplay of the of what's called Cyberpunk 2077. I haven't missed out trying to play the other game. I think I heard the game right here. It's like one of these games called Call of Duty World at War. Konutsu Gami. I'm gonna try to play that with you guys sometime next week. I haven't hold off on that too long, but I'm gonna try to do that soon. Only playing that game, and hopefully everything else will go free flow as usual for the next several days. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'll probably be streaming gameplay of Madagascar on PlayStation 2, because that's probably going to be the next game I review for my website. So I'll probably be starting playing that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, exciting, but hey, I got to review as many games as I can, because not every game I'll be able to play or get my hands on, and then so. And Madagascar, I've played a couple times. It's not so bad. So
yeah.
It's really easy, but but hey, it's at the point where it's just fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, until next time, good night, everyone.
Night, guys.